he is the example of what soldiers do, what they're about, what they stand
Who shot Dick Gentry? That's what I really wanted to try to find out.
Every time I have the opportunity to interact with a child, it's a success story to me. When I see them, their face light up when they see their nurse.
Once I saw the life in those heads, what he could do with clay, it just changed me kind of instantly. It became my goal. I didn't have one.
I started doing it a long time ago. Went out there and just started seeing these older guys stuff in the lake and got to hearing all these stories, so I figured I'd try it. I've been doing it ever since.
I think that the whole experience for us was really eye-opening, and because we see what the media wants us to see, and we don't really have any connection to certain ones unless someone in our family was involved. But we all just really felt a sense of respect, and I think that we all have a better understanding of what these families go through and how important it is to veterans and families alike for the lives of these soldiers to still continue to be honored today.
I'm gonna say this without trying to get choked up because it gets you choked up real quick. Being a veteran myself, I did a couple of tours over in Iraq, in the Persian Gulf time period. I saw some of my buddies that I've worked with, fought with side by side, die. It's something hard, but you learn to accept it because that's what you're there for. You're there to provide the freedom for the people back here in the States. So to have the opportunity to come out here and continue being associated with the veterans and the services, the active duty service people and their families, is probably in my top, one. We decided to do a Persian Gulf War memorial because the other cemeteries throughout the states, the national cemeteries, they've got their Vietnam Wars, Korean War memorials and those type of memorials. So we were blessed to get the Persian Gulf War memorial. To be able to be eligible, I guess you could say, to be on the wall, to be included on the wall, you had to be with a Mississippi unit at the time of your death during the Persian Gulf War conflict. For me, it's kind of like still being in the service because I can still provide stuff to those members who had served before me and for those who are going to serve after me. Those who are on active duty right now, if by chance they were to be killed or just passed on for whatever reason, I still get to be a part of that. I take pride in everything out here. I walk this area every day, make sure everything is 100%. It's hard to explain why and what it means. It's everything to me.
Meeting with Miss Allen, it was very moving to see the courage and strength that she put up and gone through. And honestly, going through something like that, I don't think I'd ever be able to get through something so emotional. And when she talked about her son and talked about everything that her family's been through, she broke down, and it was hard to sit here and listen to her and grasp the emotion that she was bringing across. And with any of the families, all the emotion showed.
He, started looking at different things, and the military was one of his options, and he decided to join the Army National Guard and become a medic. And he wanted to help people. I sat him down and talked to him about it. I said, Shane, there's a chance if there's a war you could be deployed. And he told me, he said, I know, Mama, but this is what I want to do. Even though he was severely injured himself, he told him what to do for him and for the other man. The other man, I think they said they had to give him like 52 pints of blood, but he survived. He spent a lot of time in Walter Reed though, but he lives down south. So. You do a lot of praying, and you depend on God a lot to get you through a lot of rough times. But I've joined the American Gold Star Mothers. I'm a member of the Forever Faithful chapter in Mississippi. We believe that through helping other people, that it helps us deal with our pain and our grief. There's a lot of different emotions that you go through. And I've had people say, how do you deal with this? I don't see how you could deal with it. Well, nobody gave me a choice. Nobody asked me if I could deal with it. You just have to deal with it.
He was always fascinated with trucks, cars, ambulance, rescue, fire equipment, and stuff like that. I mean, even from the time he was a little kid up until he went to Afghanistan, he was ordering all these emergency medical things off of eBay. He had this big city that he built, and it had a hospital, FBI, CIA, and it's just like all this. That was his hobby. It was crazy. That whole day was just unbelievable. And but I pushed through and I did what I had to do. And about 10:20 that night, I was sitting on the couch, and it's like I could hear the faucet dripping. I'm like, when the faucet start dripping? It was like echoing, So I got up to go and tighten up the faucet in the kitchen, and the doorbell rang, and my son came downstairs and he said, it's the messenger, Mom, it's the messenger. So that's how we found out. The circumstances behind how their loved one died is much more tragic than what we had to go through, We were able to, get Brandon back and view his body, and, he came back in one piece. I mean, and, some of the families never even, they don't get a chance to have that final thing, they just, there's nothing left, So we were able to have some closure. We set up a scholarship in his namesake. It's PFC William Brandon Dawson Scholarship. We call it the Freedom Scholarship. And that was one of our fundraisers when we did the dedication at the museum. So this year we'll be giving away 2 scholarships. I don't want his death to be in vain. You know, a lot of times soldiers, they go over there and they die, and that's it. You know, it's just another statistic. And I don't want that to be like that with him. You know, so it's up to me to keep his name. You know, I feel like it's up to me to keep his memory alive and fresh in the minds of people that loved him and everybody else, you know.
The thing that stuck out to me the most is when I spoke to Miss Victoria, and her daughter Sydney has been treated in the Children's Cancer Clinic. And one thing that she told me is you never know when you're going to need the Children's Hospital, because she worked there. She worked at the health center as a recruiter for a long time before her daughter had cancer. And it always seemed like something that, you know, she had sympathy towards the people who were in the hospital who were being treated there, and she said she would often say a prayer as she drove by. But it wasn't until Sydney was diagnosed with cancer that they needed the Children's Hospital. And so I think for people reading the story, you never know when this hospital could save your life or save your child's life.
No one wants to be in the hospital. They'd much rather be, in their homes or going to school, etc. But if you have to be here, we try to make that experience as positive as possible. Access to health care is probably one of our major problems. We'll take any child, that has a health issue, regardless of insurance.
We love Batson. We do. They've been awesome. We probably don't even want to think about what would be happening to him right now if we had not found this hospital.
Throughout the state, I know that they know that the Children's Hospital is here, but I'm not sure, unless they've had opportunity to have a child that was a patient here or visit someone here, that they know just what being a child or a children-specific hospital, just how special that is for the state to have.
Taking care of special needs children is rewarding and taxing in the same breath. So I think that would probably be it. The kids that just have so many medical problems, sometimes that drains you a little bit. But at the same time, any little bit of help you provide a child that has a lot of problems is a massive change in their life quantity and quality.
Every time I have the opportunity to interact with a child, it's a success story to me. When I see them, their face light up when they see their nurse.
So now there's little miracles every day that happen in the Children's Hospital.
Not being from Mississippi and going to Ole Miss, I always felt a sense of detachment from Mississippi history and not knowing as much as all the in-state kids here, and getting to talk to Mr. Gentry and talk to someone who had firsthand on eyewitness account on probably one of the biggest historical moments to take place in Mississippi really helped me gain an understanding of Mississippi history and help appreciate Mississippi, because it has been my home for 3 years, and I hope it will continue to be my home.
I thought that it came over this side, and I was telling you, it's a possibility that we had already made that.
little strange to realize that this is where it was. This is what happened 50 years ago. And I ignored it for so many years. Just really didn't think that much about it.
No mob, however unruly or boisterous, is entitled to defy a court of law.
Oh, this was about the area when we heard something that we thought was a firecracker, and then we heard a second one. And the first one, it hit the grass over here, I guess, and then the second one seemed to hit the sidewalk in front of us, maybe a glancing type blow. And at that point, we looked at each other and realized somebody's shooting at us.
What kind of mother is this? Got my little 6-month-old baby up, put her in the back of the car, drove into the riot so that I could see whether or not my husband was dead.
Who shot Dick Gentry? That's what I really wanted to try to find out. I thought maybe they may have identified some suspect or something in these pages, and I only brought a few of them. Like I say, it's that stacked that high. And a lot of them, it's got the white out, every name, they don't tell you very many names. Lined up in front of the ICM, and we were right across the street.
What did people hope to accomplish from such foolishness? Now it's so nonsensical that it's hard to put any meaning to that. It's just, it's crazy.
It was really interesting to get to interview him because he talks about how hard it is to be an artist in the present day and how it's such a materialistic world we live in and how he's persevered through that all. You know, it's really enlightening to hear someone older, much older than me, talk about like certain views of life, about not being materialistic.
I like the give and the take of clay. You know, you can add and take away. It's so flexible. It's so plastic. I don't like the rigidity of carving. The rules are a little too strict for me. You always try to put a little life in the clay. You know, that's your main goal is a little life, the character of the subject. And hopefully it'll exist on different levels. Hopefully it'll represent something maybe a little bigger. To a lot of people, it's the only piece I've ever done. I may have 20 public monuments out there. I've got them in Coral Gables, Florida, 12-footers, Gettysburg, Virginia. I've got them all over the country. But most people say, well, he made Faulkner. I think my favorite piece out of all the monuments was Chief Pia-Mingo, a Chickasaw Indian chief. It's in Tupelo in front of the new city hall, or courthouse. I don't know which it is, but in Fair Park in Tupelo. Pia-Mingo was a Chickasaw Indian chief, friend of George Washington's 1780s, 90s. And the research for that was a powerful time for me, just reading all the history of what went on right here in our landscape. And I think in the Pia-Mingo piece, if they get the strength and the pride, that was the main part of that piece. This pose is taken from a Roger Marchut's photograph taken in 1956 at Fair Park, the same place that my Pia-Mingo's at. He did a concert for the Mississippi-Alabama State Fair. It's the iconic photograph of rock and roll where Elvis gives the energy to the people of rock and roll, and sort of the birth to a lot of people. I think on this piece, the Sistine Chapel comes to mind with God and Adam. A lot of the people who came in while I was working on Elvis said, men and women said, he was the prettiest man I ever saw. And I hope I got some of his beauty. These things are so hard to do. It takes a year out of my life. And I don't think from now on I'm going to put my name on anything that took a year out of my life that somebody else's opinion. I think I'm through with that. We're in strange times, and if art reflects society, maybe it's time some of the artists got off their ass and started making a statement. It's maybe past time.
I learned that these guys are basically crazy, but they're good crazy. They enjoy it. They want to teach the kids about grappling, a new generation. It's really good physical exercise. I mean, if you watch them throw themselves in the water, throw themselves back out of the water, I mean, it takes a lot of stamina to be able to do what they do.
Just catching big fish. You can't catch them on a pole like that. You go to these ponds, you know, you don't catch a little brim bass and stuff like that. You don't catch nothing like this. If we catch one today, you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right, who's got my hose?
If you stand up, I'll get you. Let me get this
I
cranked
still remember
up.
the routine, right? When I yank, cool.
Yeah. I ain't gonna pull you fast.
All right, I'm gonna come out to the back of the boat, okay? He's over there. Eddie's over there.
So we're just gonna get the boats out there and get out of the water, or get out in the water and dive down on the water where our boxes are and go in there and see if fish is in there. There's a big hole in the box. You just run your hand up in there. If he's in there, he'll bite your hand. You can go and get him out. Thrill of it, the rush. When you stick your hand in there and you can't see nothing under that water. It's dark down there, you know. When you're down there with that breathing machine, it's deep, black, and you can't see, and you run your hand there and you get bit. It's just, I don't know, just a thrill.
When you go to that box and you check it, you got that kind of a scared feeling, a kind of a rush, because you don't know what's going to be in that box, whether it's going to be a blue or a white hump or a flathead. And then when you run your hand back in the back of that box, that's when the hair won't kind of stand up on your neck. And all of a sudden, if it's a blue, he'll just grab you and hose you. And if it's a flathead, he'll just and he'll run back to the back of the box, and you'll know just the heartbeat what it is. That's that rush. And that's the rush of grappling right there.
Ain't nothing easy about it. The fish that I caught grappling, he done been on the trot line and he twisted off of the hook and he broke his top jaw. And when he broke his jaw, it had a real bad bone that stuck down, and that bone is what cut me right there. Got scars all over my fingers and hands from them, everywhere.
On down and get him. See my feet, that's where the hole is. See? Oh, there we go with the fish. Get him! Get him! Throw him in the boat. Throw him in! Have him in the fish!
Scared the first time. It was pretty fun. I like the adrenaline rush on it. You don't know if you're gonna catch it or not. It was hard. It was fighting and slapping you in the side and in the face.
Ain't really no secret to it. I mean, you don't know what you're gonna get when you get on your hand in there. It may be one that's big, or it may be one 75, 80 pounds in there. You'll never know.